they are in motion, with the largest one peaking. As you know, a lot of this peaks during the dry season. So November, December is going to witness a peak of those projects in the final quarter. And then let me just give you a quick breakdown of our revenue performance in 2025. Our recurrent revenue was originally budgeted, and our recurrent revenue is largely from FAC and IGR. We had projected or budgeted 692 billion. We actually got from both FAC and IGR, we received 676 billion, and that is 97.7% performance. In our capital receipts, we budgeted 278 billion, and we actually received 150 billion. That's a receipt of 53.7%. So, in all, if you look at the total inflow, the budget was, as I said earlier, 971 billion. The total inflow that came.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.
Now have access to land mechanization, storage and processing hubs. Through the Enugu United Palm Products Projects and agro-processing expansion, we are reviving cash crops and strengthening rural incomes. Looking ahead, we are doubling down on private public sector-led growth. Our industrial parks, agro-processing zones, renewable energy projects, and transport systems will all run on public-private partnerships. Our most strategic objective remains clear: to dramatically reduce dependency on federal allocations and build a self-sustaining state economy. We will grow our revenue base by improving efficiency, optimizing natural resources, and ensuring every sector contributes meaningfully, never by overburdening citizens. The budget in simple terms. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me put the performance of the 2025 budget in clear terms. For context, last year we approved a budget of 971 billion. Firstly, the revenues. The money coming into Enugu State has grown in ways we have never seen before. From Abuja, our fund inflow did not just meet expectations, it exceeded them by more than half. We projected about 150 billion received from FAC, but we received 230 billion. over 50% above projection. This is not accidental. It reflects the impact of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's GCFR bold economic reforms, the removal of fuel subsidies, the unification of foreign exchange rates, and other fiscal measures have strengthened our key macro indicators. We can see today that inflation has declined and it continues to trend downwardly. Interest rates have eased and the exchange rate has stabilized. And our foreign reserve has continued to be strengthened and recently hit over $46 billion mark. On our own end, our internally generated revenue is set to exceed 400 billion naira by the end of this year. It is not yet where we ultimately want to be, but it is already the highest IGR in the history of Enugu State. A 221% increase over the 2024 IGR. Although by the end of the fourth quarter of 2025, we would have already brought a revenue of 826 billion in total revenue. Now to the spending. We have spent 138 billion on salaries, pensions, and essential government services, which is about 92% of our planned spend for this year. And crucially, we invested 667 billion in capital projects, roads, schools, hospitals, water infrastructure, transport terminals, and revived state assets. When you put everything together, by the end of the year, we would have delivered about 83% of the overall budget. Mr. Speaker, in plain language, by the end of the year, almost everything we planned for 2025 will already be in place. This does not mean that the remaining projects have stalled. It simply means that they are in motion, with the largest one speaking. As you know, a lot of this peaks during the dry season. So November, December is going to witness a peak of those projects in the final quarter. And then let me just give you a quick breakdown of our revenue performance in 2025. Our recurrent revenue was originally budgeted, and our recurrent revenue is largely from FAC and IGR. We had projected or budgeted 692 billion. We actually got from both FAC and IGR, we received 676 billion, and that is 97.7% performance. In our capital receipts, we budgeted 278 billion, and we actually received 150 billion. That's a receipt of 53.7%. So, in all, if you look at the total inflow, the budget was, as I said earlier, 971 billion. The total inflow that came is 826 billion. The total budget was 971 billion, and the actual is 805 billion, giving a performance rate of 82.9%. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members, let me present the overall picture of our 2025 spending in clear terms. So far, we have spent 806 billion. This means we have utilized 97.5% of all the money that came into the states and achieved 83% of the total budget implementation against a revised budget of 971 billion. This is what gives us the momentum we carry into the 2026 to 2028 budget. Mr. Speaker, moving forward into the 2026-2028 budget, in the year ahead, Enugu will move from laying foundations to scaling transformation across every sector. We have built the base. Now we lift the entire system. In education, after completing 260 primary schools, we move upward into secondary and tertiary development with new smart secondary schools and technical and vocational colleges. In infrastructure, we shift from opening roads to delivering an unprecedented expansion, reconnecting communities, markets, and industry across the state. Our transport upgrade steps up sharply. The fleet grows, more buses coming in, more terminals, more taxis, more aircraft, a bigger, cleaner, more organized system for our people. Tourism moves from a few upgraded sites to a full visitor economy, with new attractions taking shape across the states. Our major state assets begin to bloom again, and long dormant facilities return to full productivity. All 260 farm estates gain full traction, pushing agriculture to scale. At the center of this expansion is the new Enugu Smart City, moving from groundwork to real construction, with land and infrastructure sales set to generate major revenue for the state. The 2026 budget high-level overview. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, with these initiatives in mind, and with our commitment to keep Enugu firmly on its growth path, we have proposed a total budget size of 1.62 trillion naira. From our domestic revenue, from our IGR. And we expect a total of 387 billion from our federation account revenue. And from our capital receipts, we expect a total of 329 billion. Mr. Speaker, the estimated capital and recurrent expenditure for our personnel costs, we expect our personnel costs to increase to 149 billion. And I'm sure you look at where we were last year on personnel. What we're doing this year is basically twice more than what we had in our personnel cost. And the logic is simple. I mean, you cannot expect to use the same workforce you used to execute a project size of 200 billion to do a project size of $1 trillion. So we're going to be increasing our workforce and increasing our manpower so that we have enough human resources that will essentially deliver on these projects. Our overhead also would be about 120 billion naira. Our consolidated revenue fund will be about 50 billion naira. So our total recurrent spend will be about 321 billion, which constitutes a total of 20% of our budgets. Now, capital expenditure. Our capital expenditure would be about 1.3 trillion, and to be specific, 1,296 billion naira. Again, constituting about 80% of our total budget. That brings the total budget size to 1,617 billion, 397 million, 465,000. Distinguished members of this esteemed house, this very high capital allocation is deliberate. It reflects the scale of work ahead and our administration to sustain and accelerate the growth momentum across all the major sectors that we have talked about. So it reflects our administration resolve to achieve that. And I'll just give a snippet of the sectoral breakdown. We expect the administration sector to take 8% of the total budget, which is about 128 billion. The economic sector is allocated 51% of the total budget, bringing it to 825 billion. The law and justice sector will take 15 billion, bringing it to 1.54% of the total budget. The regional sector will take 2 billion, bringing it to 0.17%. And the social service sector will take 40.1%, bringing it to 644 billion. In simple terms, 2026 is the year Enugu moves from building foundations to delivering impact at scale. And now, allow me to present the changes this budget will support. The economic sector, we are allocating 868 billion, representing 61.1% of the capital expenditure to the economic sector. It's very strategic and deliberate. When we invest in agriculture, industry, and trade, we create jobs, reduce poverty, and generate revenue that strengthens the entire economy. The performance of this sector remains central to our vision of achieving a 7-fold GDP growth in Enugu State. Agriculture remains crucial to our pursuit of poverty eradication and self-sufficiency, with its potential to create massive job opportunities and expand our revenue base. Next year, we will complete the construction of all 260 farm estates. Each 200-hectare farm estate will be equipped with key infrastructure, central warehouses, for produce aggregation and processing, tractor sheds, irrigation system, electricity, and water supply. Transportation. Transportation is the lifeblood of commerce. Without efficient mobility, no economy can thrive. In 2026, we will construct additional 5 new transport terminals located at Ebene, Udi, Ogu, Four Corners, and Ogobafu. So, to further boost mobility, we also make provision for the procurement of 2,000 sedans for our city taxis. Enugu Air continues to serve as an economic enabler and a strategic platform for our emergence as a regional hub. Next year, we will acquire an additional 14 aircraft. Our total fleet to 20. You may be wondering, how did that math come about? As you know, we procured 3 aircraft earlier in the year. We have already closed the procurement of additional 3 due to arrive any moment from now, but certainly before Christmas. So we currently have 6 aircraft. So by procurement of additional 14, it will bring our total fleet to 20. Tourism. Enugu's natural attractions, its hills, waterfalls, caves, and lush vegetation position the state as a natural tourism destination. We will sustain the major upgrades already underway. This includes the revamp of Ohom Waterfall and caves, Opatu, Nsude, and Ngwo Pine Forest, where we will unveil the first zip line in Nigeria. A similar upgrade will take place at the Akuke Sand Beach next year. Road infrastructure. Quality roads not only aid movements and beautiful cities, they drive growth. In 2026, we will pave 1,200 urban and rural roads, and a significant number of them would be our rural roads. Every local government,
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the veterans is delivering the speech which we expect him to preach before we applaud him. Please, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Every local government area has a major road project in the 2026 budget. We will of course complete the 40-kilometer Owo, Obaho, Amankanu, Aneke, Iken dual carriageway, opening a new gateway to the North Central region. The dualization of Ababanike, Ubobonike, Opinsuka Road, one of the busiest economic corridors, will also be completed, as we will also complete the 21.6-kilometer Enugu-Abakaliki Expressway. Thank you. At the State Secretariat, the completion of the sea wing will ensure that all the ministries are finally housed in one location. So we have captured in our next year's budget the completion of the sea wing of our secretariat. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the sea wing has by far the largest number of blocks. And once we've achieved that, all the ministries that are currently scattered in different locations will be housed in one location. Housing. Over 15% of the total budget has been allocated to housing, reflecting our strong focus on mass housing. We would deliver 15,000 mass housing units next year, forming the first phase of the 30,000 unit planned within our first term. The new Enugu Smart City project exemplifies our commitment to creating a world-class environment for residents, work, and recreation. Next year, we will complete its infrastructure. This project is projected to generate a minimum of 300 billion for the state government next year. Social sector. We remain committed to ensuring development reaches every citizen and every community, a central theme of these budgets. Next year, we will allocate 20 billion naira to clear long-standing gratuities. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the gratuities have been a legacy debt. Over the decades, this has continued to hang on our head as government. So we're determined to clear the gratuity, and we have allocated 20 billion. We just recently completed the verification exercise, and we now have a clear figure. We now know what the outstanding figures are, and we want to clear them. We do not want to bequeath this debt to a successive government, so we're determined to clear the gratuity. Our workers should not wait years to receive benefits they have earned. We will enhance the welfare of our traditional rulers by procuring vehicles for the principal officers, as well as increasing the salaries of all our traditional rulers. Mr. Speaker, we've also committed. We will ensure that we settle all the severance benefits of our former councillors. So we have also allocated funds for that. Education. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members of this honorable House, education holds a defining place in our development strategy. For the second consecutive year, over 30% of the budget is dedicated to education. This is a deliberate investment to secure the future of our children and build a workforce capable of attracting global investments. With the smart schools infrastructure largely in place, our focus next year shifts to smart secondary schools and technical and vocational education colleges. For us, education remains a permanent frontier. This explains why we have in 2 consecutive budget cycles devoted over 30% of our total budget to the sector. This is not mere symbolism. It is a deliberate investment in our children. Next year will be no different, because our greatest asset is in the head, the hand, and the heart of our people. We have boldly demonstrated this again with the 32.27% allocation to education in the 2026 budget. There are some who might look at what we spend on education and cringe, but what we spend currently on education is largely insignificant weighed against the future social cost of having a disproportionate population of out-of-school children. When we invest in education, we're not just securing the future of our children, but we're also securing our own too, because we already know the price of not investing today in education. Our goal is to build a competitive, innovation-driven workforce capable of attracting global investment opportunity. And that would happen by making sure that our young ones are imbued with the evolving 21st century skills, artificial intelligence, that will contribute over $20 trillion to the global economy in the next 5 years. Our children must be at the center of that. Healthcare. Our philosophy is simple. Where you live should not determine the quality of healthcare you receive. 10% of the total budget goes to the health sector. The construction of 260 Type 2 primary healthcare centers across 4 wards will be completed and fully equipped in 2026. We will upgrade 51 secondary healthcare facilities. The 300-bed Enugu International Hospital, built to provide advanced and specialized medical care, will be completed by first quarter of 2026, to be specific by February. Alongside the structural upgrade of Parkley, so we have a twin block going up there, and we hope to complete before the end of February the structure and the equipment of Parkley. Sports. Enugu's rich heritage and its potential for unity and economic opportunity form the basis of our renewed investment in sports. As host of the 23rd National Sports Festival, we are determined to deliver the most memorable edition in its history. We will complete the extensive renovation of Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium and the Ogu Games Village. Security. Our achievements rest on a foundation of security. Next year, 11 billion will fund the second phase of our security surveillance system, expanding coverage to areas not included in the first phase and to 12 additional local government areas. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members of this esteemed House, I'm sure that a number of people may be wondering, how are you going to fund all this? And there are valid doubts. I recognize that with a budget of this scale, caution is not only reasonable, it is essential. The first concern, naturally, is revenue performance. This year, despite strong gains, we did not hit 100% of our revenue projections. We will close 2025 at roughly 82 to 85% performance, largely because certain revenue streams could not mature until the assets behind them were completed. That is why this budget remains balanced, not deficit-driven. We have matched our ambitions to real, measurable income flows and kept our spending firmly tied to what we can responsibly generate. Next year's revenue projection is higher, close to 1.3 trillion from non-fact sources, and it is right to question that growth. But unlike last year, we now have revenue engines that were not operating before. The bus terminals, the International Conference Center, the Hotel Presidential, revived industry, and the new Enugu City, whose sales and projected revenue will be yielding us at least 300 billion once the final infrastructure phase is ended. These are not theoretical streams. They are assets already built, activated, or in the final stages of completion. Of course, the second concern is capacity, the human resources, the supervision, and the quality control needed to manage a project load far larger than anything Enugu has undertaken before. It is true, the structure built to manage 200 or 400 billion in annual spending cannot manage a trillion naira development program. That is why we must expand our workforce, strengthen oversight units, and tighten quality assurance so that as we build more, we also build well. Rapid recruitment carries risks, and we acknowledge them. But acknowledging them is how we guard against them. We will maintain a rigorous selection process and reinforce a monitoring framework that ensures transparency, accountability, and value for money. Weather disruptions is another risk factor. That would also remain a variable, as they were this year. But even with those delays, we still delivered over 80% performance because we stayed disciplined and balanced the books at every step. So yes, this budget is a reach, but it is a responsible reach, grounded in track record, backed by revenue assets, protected by strict governance controls, and built on the momentum of a state that has already proven it can deliver more than it was once thought possible. Mr. Speaker, distinguished members, the dawn we spoke of 2 years ago is no longer a promise on the horizon. It is now upon us, revealing roads where there were none, water where there was none, schools now standing in every ward in our state. And now with this budget of renewed momentum, we stand at the edge of a new day. Not for government, but for every family, every worker, every child who believes that Enugu can rise and claim its place among the great centers of growth in our nation. This is our moment to keep pushing, to keep building, to keep proving that a once overlooked state can show the entire country what discipline, partnership, and vision can achieve. I extend my deepest gratitude to this honorable House for the speed and sincerity with which you have worked with the executive branch. You have treated progress not as politics, but as a much-needed rite of passage for Enugu. And now I ask you once again to join us so that the light we see now becomes the full brightness of the tomorrow we have promised our people. as we enter this month of December, I wish every member of this house and every home across Enugu State a blessed season of hope, peace, and renewal. May this holy season strengthen our unity. And may the year ahead meet us building the future our children deserve. Tomorrow is no longer coming. Tomorrow is
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all, it's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy, the fun, it's here. Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all, it's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy, the fun, it's here.
Friends, Christmas is just around the corner, and with the current economic reality, many Nigerians are rethinking how to celebrate this festive season. We look into the streets to find out how many are preparing.
Christmas is a yearly occurrence. Whether you like it or not, it must happen. So for me, the best thing I will do is to be happy with my family. That's the way we're going to celebrate it. Whether we have money, whether we have anything, we're going to enjoy ourselves just like that.
With the economy of Nigeria, we will do things according to our ability. We might not go out of the way to begin to do excessive things. Since the economy is biting hard now, we have to cut our coats according to our clothes. We need to do things with moderation, according to our income, according to what we have. Gone are the days when we do excessive celebration, do unnecessary things. These days we do things that are necessary. If you can put food on the table for people, the children and the family, you're okay.
I'm not planning anything because there is no money. I can't just pretend I don't have money, but I know that God can do something tomorrow.
Christmas is being celebrated every year. If you don't do it the way you want this year, maybe next year. There's no die on it. You just plan it the way your economy, your level. Maybe last year eat 10 cups of rice. Today you have only 2. Eat that 2. Nobody knows about tomorrow. That's the way I'm planning it, my sister. I'm not doing it do or die affair, no. I just take it cool. Whatever I have with my family, with friends, we share. If we don't have, we pray and ask God to continue to help us till next year.
I am not seeing people. Other people see Christmas. I see business. So I'm not in a celebratory mood. I'm in a hustle mode. I see your money, I'ma take it. But in general, so far so good. There's a lot to be thankful for. So all glory to God.
To celebrate this Christmas is actually going to be hard for now because the economy, hey, is very, 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 very high. There is no money to celebrate the Christmas. In fact, there is nothing like to celebrate this Christmas because there is nothing to use as celebrate it.
The economy has nothing on me. As you see me, I am fully outside this Christmas. See this Christmas, anywhere it's happening, you're going to see me there first. It doesn't concern me. If the economy let it go low, 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 low. The children of God must survive. So with this economy, I'm going to flex life. I'm going to go out because I've worked so hard since the beginning of this year. So this Christmas, I'm going to enjoy myself. With or without the economy being bad, it don't concern me.
From budgeting carefully to focusing on family over spending, Nigerians are finding creative ways to keep the festive spirit alive despite the tough economic times. I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV.
The Eagles stand as
Ogene is a metal bell, historically made by the Igbo people and considered as one of the most important metal instruments in Igbo traditional music. When struck with a wooden stick, it produces a sharp resonant tone. It is a symbol of Igbo identity and heritage, passed down through generations. Ogene acts as a rhythmic instrument, a melodic device, a means of communication, and also used in divination and spiritual rituals. It provides the rhythmic backbone, often setting the tempo and pace for other instruments and dancers. Ogene comes in different shapes and sizes. The single bell ogene, the double-belled ogene, ogene mkpenabo, with each producing different sounds. The triple-shaped ogene, ogene mkpe ato, each also producing different sounds. In an ogene cultural dance group, the vocal style is often distinguished by its main vocalist, with multiple singers singing in harmony with each.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries, and this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here.
Ndị Igbo si na onye amara ebe mmiri bidoro maba ya ama ama ebe ọ kwụsịrị. And that actually provides the background for the respect I have for the great work that Center for Memories is doing, Center for Memories. And I wish we would take the work this center is doing a lot more seriously, because we have a rich history. We have a rich history as far from way back, but we also have a rich contemporary history as in Igbo. Interrogating the state of human rights in our Igbo. When we talk about interrogate, we are talking about asking serious questions, asking questions aggressively about the state of human rights in our Igbo. But before that question of the state of human rights in our Igbo, there's a very interesting statement, a very interesting philosophical statement in Dummiri, in Duazo. So that statement speaks to the fact that without the understanding of Ndummiri Nduazu, you may not even fully appreciate what we are going to be talking about. Ndummiri Nduazu speaks about the fact that there is no way you can make progress in a society if you do not recognize interdependence. Mmiri actually accommodates the azu. The water accommodates the fish. Without the water, the fish will not survive. But guess what? Without the fish, the water will lose part of its relevance. As a matter of fact, in several riverine areas, what takes people to the water is the fish. So if you remove the fish from the water, people may not even know the water is there. Besides being a means of moving from one point to another, one major reason people go to the water is to get fish. So there is this interdependence between Mmiri and us, between the water and the fish. While the water looks like it's more important because it accommodates the fish, if you remove the fish, the water loses a large part of its relevance. And that is what we are looking at today, Ndummiri Nduazu, which speaks to different aspects of Igbo philosophy. Ewe bere, ugo bere, okata na akpa dipe, madi biaru no kono nogo, diri kam diri. All of these expressions speak to one fact, that we have to learn how to coexist peacefully to the benefit of all of us. So when you get that background, it lays a foundation for the conversation about the state of human rights in our Igbo. And since we are going to look at it from the point of view of interrogating the state of human rights in our Igbo, I want to actually just ask a few questions and answer them, because I don't have all the time in the world. So the first question is, what is human rights? Human rights are basically the rights we have because we are human. There are other more elaborate and fancy definitions. But why I love defining human rights as the rights we have because we are human is that a lot of people associate human rights with the caliber or state of the person who is seeking to enjoy the human rights. So very often when I speak about human rights, for instance, when I talk about the right to liberty, the right to bail, people ask me questions like, so if the person actually committed the crime, should the person also get bail? And my answer is simple. The law says the person should get bail. The law assumes the person is guilty until proven innocent. The law does not look at the person through the lens of being guilty, because the law assumes the person is innocent. But you as a layman, you're saying, I saw him still. He is not entitled to bail. But then the last time I checked, bail is not supposed to be go home and sin no more. Bail is supposed to be go home so that you will enjoy your freedom and be productive. Perchance you didn't actually commit the crime. So what if after all of the detention, the person actually didn't commit the crime? So the point is, human rights should be enjoyed by people because they are human, not because they are nice people, not because they are innocent, not because they are wealthy, not because they are educated, not because they are politically connected, but just because they are human. When we understand this definition, our communities will begin to change dramatically and drastically. For instance, I've noticed that when you come to a village setting and you are discussing issues around human rights, you notice that people who had a bad reputation will actually not get their rights respected, because most people will be judging them based on their past. I don't know if you can connect what I'm saying. That is, if something gets lost in a certain environment, everybody will look in the direction of the thief, even if it's not the thief that stole it. In fact, some people actually go to steal something knowing that there is a person who has the reputation for stealing who is likely to take the blame. So they will quickly steal, knowing that everybody will suspect the thief. We all know. It happens also that sometimes when we are discussing human rights, people say, not for this one. The things that, see, we shouldn't be discussing human rights here. But the first thing I want to establish is, what is human rights? These are rights we enjoy because we are human. It's that simple. And does it mean that if a person commits a crime repeatedly, the person should be entitled to the rights repeatedly? The unfortunate answer is yes. Is it my opinion? No. So why am I so adamant about it? Because that's what the law says. You cannot exist in a democracy without the rule of law. But let me also surprise us. We forget that human rights did not start with 1999 Constitution. Before the white man came, Igbos had the rule of law. That is why in those days, if the son of a king committed alo, the son of the king will vanish. You see that thematic focus in several home movies in Nigeria, where there's this struggle between power and dominana. There was the rule of law even in Igbo land. Igbo such, you had to run beyond an even forest or big body of water if you kill someone, even if it was manslaughter. The status of your father will not save you. So did we have the rule of law in Igbo land? Yes. Did we have respect for rights? Yes. How do I know? We do not even remember that even women had rights. We always think about the fact, oh, that Okonkwo used to flog his wife in this all about, so we don't have rights. No, it doesn't work that way. Most of us do not know that there are rights that women enjoyed in the southeast, in Alibo, even before the white man came. I'll give you one example that will surprise some of you. Do you know that it was the right of a woman to have a place to cultivate? It wasn't negotiable, it was a right. Why? I'm not guessing. It's something I researched long ago, because at some point I asked myself, these human rights were discussed, is it so alien? I not only talked to elders, I spoke to a professor of family law. The man shocked me when he started listing the retinue of rights enjoyed by women in traditional Africa. If a woman, for whatever reason, maybe she didn't have a boy child or she was divorced from the husband, was sent back to her family. The family had a duty to allocate her a portion of land to cultivate her ede. It was a right, it wasn't negotiable, whether or not. I was surprised when I got a list of rights. So what does it tell us? We are not that distant from human rights as we have been made to believe by the white man, that everything good came with the white man. No, we had order also. In fact, our society was so well ordered, we so well respected the rule of law and the rule of tradition, that you didn't have to use doors in your house. There was no door in traditional architecture of the Igbo man. We had almost a point of entrance. We had no door. There was no need to lock it. If you went to the market in the good old days, there was no need to actually protect your yam. You had to take some other products home if you finished your business. But you left the yam in the market because the yam was the king of crops. You don't steal yam. You don't steal the king of crops. So we had rules of engagement. So we are not strangers to the rule of law. The fact that the rule of law has been documented now doesn't mean that it has never been there. As a matter of fact, the rule of law was more functional in the traditional Igbo society than it is today in Nigeria, because today the politicians are above the law. In those days, almost everybody was subject to the law. If you refuse to be subject to the law, Anna will take care of you. Because today our courts may decide to even say on your mandate we stand. But in those days, the goddess of Anna will not permit you to desecrate the land. And as long as we cannot live in the air, that's why in those days you wanted to say something important. You removed your shoes and stood on and said, as you stand on this soil. So we need to begin to ask ourselves, are these things really new? The answer is no. I wanted to lay this foundation before we start talking about issues around interrogating human rights in these modern times. We have not always been the way we are now. We had reasonable respect for the rule of law. That is why, if you notice, people are going back to traditional religious practice in Igbo land. Have you noticed the trend? Have you noticed the trend? Do you know why? Because the system we claim to be operating these days is not protecting us. So somebody decides to sit on your rights. You go to the law. The law is playing games and dying about giving you your rights. So the poor man says what? I don't know if you have been hearing that recently. Because the poor man believes that since I don't have money to fight with you, since I don't want to fight with you in a court that may be biased, let me go to a place where I will get justice. And that begins to tell you that we need to reinvent our present approach to human rights to align with who we were in the past. To respect people's rights without looking at status. Having said that, I'll also ask the next question. What are the different rights we have as a people? There are three major classes of rights. We call them social rights, economic rights, and civic rights. That is economic, social, and cultural rights. Economic rights, social rights, cultural rights, all of these rights have implications. But one of the things we don't think about is that people have cultural rights. I chose to talk about it a little because it speaks to the state of human rights in Igbo. And if we want to ask questions, we should ask hard questions. Why is it that in your village, Christmas is around the corner, people will organize village revival? Am I correct? If not, you may come to your village next to pull down strongholds, and sometimes you burn people's shrines. Let me tell you the truth. When you burn a shrine, just burn a cathedral that pre-exists the churches you built in the city. Every shrine is somebody's cathedral. So if you go and burn a shrine because you are pursuing an evil spirit, you're actually stepping on somebody's cultural rights. That's what I'm saying. So human rights is not about going to police station or going to retrieve somebody from the cell. No, there are several implications. We have the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. I'm asking hard questions today. Why should you go and burn somebody's place of worship without the person's consent? On the assumption that it's the person who stopped you from progressing in your village. And that is purely an assumption. You have refused to work hard. You have refused to study hard. And then when you fail exams repeatedly, your father will go and burn somebody's shrine and say the person is tying you. While some people may practice malevolent spiritual practices, there are also several persons who engage in benevolent spiritual practices. But we lump all of them together na Igbo, and we condemn them without realizing that they have a right to choose who to worship, when and where, or to choose not to worship anybody at all, or anything at all. So these are tough questions, economic, social, and cultural rights. I will tell you a shocking story that I encountered as a person. I received a report, and we investigated the report, and it was true that a young woman was stripped naked from head to toe and paraded in her hometown, not elsewhere. What was her offense? That she brought India Koromaka to their village. Her village was predominantly following one of the conservative Orthodox churches. A priest participated in this show of shame. So an undergraduate who was in UNN at that time brought a fellowship, and they bought land and wanted to establish Okakorakan at their village. The village conspired, thought she was mental, that we are introducing something alien. She didn't even bring Omenana. She brought another church, another denomination. In the course of teaching her a lesson, they stripped her naked and took her all over the town. They feel naked. By the time we got involved in that matter, there was pandemonium. We complained that the Muslims in the north apparently make it difficult for Christians to hold crusades and operate freely. And then we come here, we also don't allow some people to operate freely. So how does that speak to the state of human rights in Ali? How can you be pointing one finger at some other persons for persecuting you and then you're persecuting other persons right in your space? Because we don't understand human rights. So there are different types of rights. We have classes of rights. It's not just about, I just wanted to choose a cultural rights to make us understand that this human rights thing is deep. And when you don't allow people to flourish, when you oppress people, you don't get the best out of them. A person who is oppressed cannot be creative. If you doubt what I'm saying, go and check the history of the entertainment industry in Nigeria. Anytime the military takes over in Nigeria, the entertainment industry practically dies, it shuts down. Go and check. Chris Okotie and his colleagues reigned under Shehu Shagare. Go and check the records. The records are there. Once the military took over, all the superstars in music, the career stopped. Because you cannot come to a military administration and be shouting Nigeria, scatter, scatter, Nigeria. You won't sing again. Once certain persons take over power, fear rules the space. Once there is fear, creativity takes back page. Creativity flows freely, doesn't like to be encumbered. So in any place where people are oppressed, you're actually oppressing creativity and productivity. So the question that we need to discuss next is, what are the rights we should have? Modern day rights. I've mentioned some of them. We have a right to decide how we want to worship, who we want to worship, where, when. But I must also point out that some of the rights that we are going to discuss are not for minors. If you are less than 18 years, there are some rights you shouldn't enjoy because your parents will make those choices for you. So I'm saying it so you will understand. But when you become an adult, you are supposed to be mature enough to make choices for yourself. We have so many rights entrenched in the Constitution. We have the right to life. Nobody's life should be taken without recourse to due process. We have the right to liberty. Nobody should be detained. It's common in Nigeria now for whatever reason to detain a human being, sometimes for 6 months, 1 year, and say for security reasons. No, the laws are clear, very clear about those things. But we choose not to respect the laws because it's politically expedient not to do so. And it's worse in the southeast. So when you go to Imo State, there is this operation, something that's very notorious for detaining people indefinitely. When you go to Ebonyi State, recently we released a young man who was detained in a military camp for 3 months. And when we investigated, we found out he didn't really do anything. We presented the real story to the commander. He was released the next day. So he wasted 3 months of his life. Just wasted it. And nobody said, I'm sorry. If it's abroad, he will pay heavy compensation. Not in Nigeria. He will go and do Thanksgiving because he has been released. He will not be talking about compensation. So, we also have the right to be treated like human beings. The right to the dignity of the human person. This is one of the few countries in the world where, on a regular, we see people sitting on the back of trucks. That is, the policemen will arrest us, tell us to sit down on the back of their pickup truck. You come to the police station, they ask you to sit on the floor. Meanwhile, there are empty chairs all over the place, but they'll tell you to sit on the floor. Sometimes I even wonder about my sanity and their own sanity. How can you have chairs that are not occupied and you ask a human being to sit on the floor? So what are the chairs doing there? And the last time I checked, most of those chairs were actually procured by ordinary Nigerians supporting the police. They call them PP, Police Public Relations Committee, right? And then other well-meaning Nigerians. So we buy chairs and donate to them so we'll be comfortable. Then we come there and they say sit on the floor. So sometimes actually go and check whether there are spirits sitting on those chairs. And you find out that they're just empty chairs. But somebody has found the habit of oppressing you to the extent that you submit. That is, the person dehumanizes you. So even when somebody walks into that police station and looks at you, you look like a criminal. He doesn't have to work hard to convince your family that you're a criminal because you are so dehumanized and so you are so in such a bad shape that people will be asking you, that's the first question most of your friends will ask you. They have not asked you what happened and they assume you are guilty. Because of the way you look like a criminal. They do it intentionally. But as when you come in a suit and you're sitting down in a defined manner and you cross your leg, like that our sister there, somebody comes in to look at you, and the person will assume that this is a gentleman. What is he doing here? So they don't want you to look like a gentleman. But the law says you should treat us with respect to the dignity of our person. It's not only about the police and the institutions. We have women and men who have empty rooms in their homes, and their house girls and house boys sleep in the kitchen with rats and rodents. That is an abuse of the right to dignity of that house girl. I was raised in a family where my dad forbade calling anybody house girl or house boy. In my home, when you arrange the order, if the houseboy or house girl was placed as if like this is your senior, this, you give the person the respect that was due to him. My dad would punish you more for disrespecting a family member than that house. So he taught us to just respect people for being human, not because of the state of their family, economy, state of bad. No, those things came with the package for me. I didn't have to struggle to learn how to respect. I respect everybody. I respect young people. I respect old people. I respect people who are poor. I sometimes, I don't know if I respect people who are rich well, because sometimes they don't even deserve the respect. But you just respect them anyhow because they're human. I actually find it easier to respect ordinary people, to make them understand that they are human. They are not any less human because they are not billionaires. But we have lost all that. So we have a plethora of rights, so many rights. Tenants have rights with their landlords. Landlords also have rights. Employees have rights. You don't just wake up and tell an employee you are fired. If you have the guts to say you are fired, you should also have the guts to pay 1 month in lieu of notice. If you have a tenant and the tenant is not quick to vacate the house and not quick to pay you rent, you should be patient. Go to the law. Don't tell me that the law is slow. My dad taught me some lessons. There was a time I had a furniture company that used to complain too much. All these carpenters, that this, that. My dad said, look, sit down, young man. I sat down. He said, look, if they are smart as you, they will not be in your employment. They will have their own businesses. So your job is to raise them to be who you want them to be, not to complain about them. My dad doesn't talk too much. He will say one thing like the Bible, you can't begin to interpret it for yourself. He says, stop complaining about them, raise them. If they are smart as you, they won't be working for you. I learned that lesson. I started training my workers every Saturday. I bought a car and I started complaining about mechanics. My dad said, you have two options. He said, either you sell your car and start using buses, or you will go and find good mechanics and relate with them. And he said also, I know one day you complain about tenants. He said, either you don't build a house, or you build a house and tenants will go here and you manage them. These things come with a package. So if you have a car, you deal with our mechanics. If you have a house, you deal with the tenants. So you don't tell me, no, the tenants are obnoxious. If you have a house, you have to be patient about evicting your tenants. So there are so many rights, I cannot go through all of them, but what I'm saying essentially is that we must get to that point where we understand that these rights are for human beings. They are not for spirits, and we should ensure that these rights are respected. So the big question for me, the elephant in the room, is what are the worst abuses we are currently dealing with in the Southeast? I would have probably spent less time laying the foundation, because for me this is the big question. And when I have these conversations, I'm not talking as Onyibo, just talking. I talk authoritatively as a person who has probably received the highest number of complaints of anybody in the Southeast. I have received and managed thousands, literally speaking, of complaints from across Alibo. Alibo transcends the Southeast. So we have a unit of HRBC, for instance, in Asaba. I've received thousands of real reports, real time, from people who suffer abuse. So when people argue with me about human rights abuse, I ask them, what do you really know about abuse? Do you have documented cases? How many do you have? I mean, we are talking about how many years? 17 years of sifting through thousands of complaints. So I've been able to find out how the mind of the Igbo man works when it comes to human rights. I've been able to see the worst of abuses. I've been able to see people who do things that are obnoxious. I've seen a man quarrel with a brother. You won't get this. Quarrel with a brother, the same father, the same mother. And because he felt the brother was giving him trouble because he was educated. This person, educated lecturer, speaks a lot of English. This one, businessman, with plenty of money. The businessman got angry, went and loaded a trailer with scrap. You know what scrap is? Scrap metal. Then went to the gate of his brother because issues concerning land. Packed the scrap trailer, used it to block the gate, and removed the head of the trailer. I don't know if you understand this story. That is, he used the trailer truck filled with scrap metal to block the entrance of his brother's gate. So the only way the brother could remove that was to go and get the head of a trailer, come and hook it to that stuff, and drag it out of. And then he also left thugs to look after the trailer, but they ensured that nobody even hooked it to drag it out. To his brother. I've seen all sorts. So the money God gave you was for the purpose of oppressing, to show his brother, okay, I'm going to put you in your place by using my words to block your gates. That's how cruel people can be sometimes. So what are the worst abuses? The worst abuses we have by far, unfortunately, was the police, and security agencies. The cases are difficult to manage, and the cases are legion. The first one is monetization of services. Most people don't know it's abuse. So you go to a police station, you want to go and report a case, and they charge you money for reporting the case. You want to go and arrest the suspect, they charge you money for arresting the suspect. And you suggest, okay, I don't want to pay money for you to bring your vehicle. They will say, bring money for fuel. You say, okay, I have a car, let's go with my car. I say, no, we can't go with your car. You have to, okay, let me put fuel in your car. I say, okay, you are difficult. That's not how we do it. Bring money for it. So you now decide, okay, I want to bring the money. Make you know whatever for this matter. So you now ask the person, how much will it cost you to buy fuel from, say, for CID Annex? I'm now using a real case example, to MN, and the person says 100,000. So you're wanting, is he driving a V12 vehicle that flies in the air or something? That's the person looks in your face and says 100,000. In fact, there was a case we got involved in, and they asked 3 persons to pay 100,000 each for them to go and inspect the site of a dispute, which wasn't a police case, it was a land matter. But somebody took it to the police, I'll get to that. And they collected 300,000 from 3 persons who didn't know their rights to drive from Abani Road to Emene. Of course, our volunteer refused to pay, and they couldn't do anything about it. He said he won't pay. I have a car. If you want to join me, you join me. If you don't want to join me. And when they realized that he wasn't going to budge, they left him and said, no, they're handing him, so we just leave him. But the others paid, knowing fully well that one of them didn't pay. So that speaks to the state of the mind of the Onyibo. We still have that assumption, so you submit to anything that they throw at you. There's the tendency of the police to do what is not their job, like debt recovery. Many of you here know stories of policemen being used to recover debt in business transactions. That is absolutely wrong and untenable. Anytime I say this in public space, people ask me questions like, so, what am I supposed to do? Going to court takes forever. So I said, no. See, my dad taught me some lessons. I'll share some of the lessons. If you do business, people will owe you. So you have to factor that into one of the things you have to deal with and follow due process. If you don't follow due process, you will pay. I'll quickly tell all of you who may be looking at me as if I'm from the moon that sometimes the oppressor can actually become the oppressed. The hunter can become the hunted. I'll quickly tell you the story of a policewoman who gave a loan to a church member. Church member couldn't pay the money. The money came with 1 million naira interest rate, I think, for 3 months. There was a transaction the woman was doing. The transaction didn't just go through. So she had to pay 2 million capital and 1 million interest. She neither had the capital nor the interest. And what happened? The policewoman arrested her and detained her without evidence of detention. You didn't get that. That is when you take a person to a police station, you document that you arrested Larry Obego and this is the offense he committed. They put her in a cell and there was no documentation. That's abduction. So when the family members go to the station and say, I'm looking for this person, they'll say there's no such person here because the person doesn't even appear in the records. And what was their position? They told the family members after some days, like 5 days, that if you bring the money, we'll release her. That was a simple instruction. Bring 3 million, we'll release her. If you don't bring 3 million, she doesn't go home. The brother came to our office, reported the matter to us. I didn't believe the story. But when we investigated, I asked one simple question. Was this transaction documented? Listen carefully. Because we learn a lesson from this story. In fact, many lessons. The brother said yes, that my sister said it was documented. Can I have a copy of the document? Yes. And when they brought the copy of the document, it was written clearly that a police officer gave a loan with interest to a friend and a church member. And because the friend couldn't pay, she was detained. I didn't talk about the loan. I didn't talk about the interest. I spoke about two things when we wrote our petition. One was abduction. It wasn't arrest because the family didn't even know. It was not officially recorded that she was arrested. But do you know the second case that was interesting? A police officer is not permitted to be a loan shark. She was a loan shark. When we followed up on the second petition, that same woman came back to appeal to the person she held for more than 2 weeks. Of course, they released her. The Deputy Commissioner of Police ordered her release immediately. He received the petition, and the woman said, yes, I gave her a loan. But when he showed the woman the second petition that spoke to the fact that we are going to escalate the matter to Police Service Commission, because we are not supposed to be a loan shark. You are giving people loans without being registered for the purpose. You're a police officer. The only business you can do is agriculture. We put our cases in black and white against her. And that woman came to settle the matter. Sorry, but for the purpose of this issue of people understanding that we need to be careful about how we treat people we think are less important or vulnerable. This woman reported the matter to her pastor. That is when she was being harassed. The woman who was owing money. Because she was on the run and reported to the pastor. Pastor office that the policewoman arrested her. I verified that from the pastor. How did I meet the pastor? When the policewoman's job was being treated, guess who she ran to? The pastor. What went around just came around. Pastor called for a meeting. And guess what? To release her from the very wicked acts she committed, I insisted she should forfeit both loan and capital. She detained somebody for 2 weeks. Now some of you may be looking at her as a very wicked person. But you see, I explained my rationale. I don't do things arbitrarily. My rationale was simple. I told her you have the option of our submitting the petition, following it up, and going to court against you for abduction and illegal detention. The court may award more than the money we are discussing. You may lose your job. The option is that you forget the money, both principal and interest. She forgot the money. Why did she choose to forget the money? She decided to pursue the money the way most of us will pursue it, without any concern for the rights of this other woman, because she was in a position of power. And then because of that approach, she lost the entire money. Do I look like I'm wicked? No. My job was to try to use her as a lesson to other persons in that station who felt that their uniform gave them license to maltreat the rest of us. So there are so many things we can talk about when it comes to security agents, but we're not going to dwell on that. In fact, as we speak, the most frequent reports we get in our office is about police cases and then a few other security agencies. And then you'll be surprised that the next highest number of cases has to do with domestic issues, domestic violence, violence against women, maltreating of children, abuse of children, that's sexual abuse and all sorts of things. Family-related cases. It's actually shocking. It's so bad that the spinsters and bachelors who work in our office are afraid of getting married. Because sometimes I ask a very funny question. Oh, you are dancing with this person on the wedding day. I ask this question to all the couples that come quarreling. So what happened? What changed? You know, the way they look at me, you know, it's like this man is mischievous. But I ask, so you people did. So did you love him before? They say, oh, God, stop asking me that. I say, no, I have to ask you. So what really changed? But the point I'm making is, when we fight these battles, we fight without rules. You see, a man insists that the wife will not see the child she carried for 9 months because just are not married anymore. Without considering that the issues of custody and visitation rights is not about only the couple, it's also about the child. The child's mental development will be affected if she doesn't get to relate with either of the parents. So I take time to explain these things. That it's not just about you. When you two were loving one another, you didn't discuss with this child. She was somewhere enjoying in the spirit realm. You people making the law of Gapote here. And now you are inflicting this injury on the child. Are you guys okay? Una meeting with the child before all these things started. No. Sometimes they become sober. I explain to them, no. Whatever issues you have should not be visited on the child. Family matters. I wish I brought it here, but my time was obviously limited, so I decided not to bring some things. But I wanted to bring some tools. A man wrote a constitution for her wife. Actually wrote it and gave the wife. When the woman and gave it, he had the courage to give the wife a copy. I had a copy. When the woman submitted, I said it's not true. The woman said it's true. Ask him. I asked the man, a lecturer at Federal Poly, the man said I wrote it. What did he write there? You cannot have visitors from your family. That they won't not turn to sleep. They won't visit. Your friends cannot come. There were 12 commandments, 12 obnoxious and wicked commandments. None of them made sense. The man actually wrote it and I told the man, do you know that I can actually put you in jail with this? Because that law has been criminalized. But people don't know. The man wrote something that put him in jail and gave the wife and said, this is the constitution of this house. An educated man who actually read law in the Open University. I told him, what kind of lawyer are you going to be? So these are the challenges we are dealing with now. Of course, one of the things we have to talk about is government agencies and institutions that deal with us without recourse. In fact, my pain is that they don't even deal with us with the intention to reform us or to help us maintain order. When MOT is looking for somebody to arrest, they are not looking at sanitizing traffic, they are looking at revenue. So they wait for you like a hunter waits for a prey. In fact, I think they even manipulate the traffic light. So you are just driving at normal speed, you just move from green to red, bam. You don't know whether to jump on your brake and somebody hits you from it. You don't know what to do. The moment you pass, the hunter is waiting. The next you see the hunters pursuing and they pursue, overtake and they recover all. Most of the time. And that is wicked. The job of the Ministry of Transport is to make sure the roads are clear. You go to main market, you cannot pass. You go to different places. Their job is to make the roads clear so that we can enjoy the road, not to pursue us. I told them clearly that Ministry of Transport is not a revenue generating agency. If anybody tells you that person is a liar, there are institutions that do not generate revenue for government. They provide a enabling environment for investors to come, for other revenue generating institutions to now have a lot of business that will now make up for revenue they are not generating. If you don't want to think about it like that, what is the Human Rights Commission going to do? So what revenue are they going to generate? There are institutions that don't generate revenue. So how much revenue do you expect the cost to generate? Do you know how much they pay judges? They give them vehicles. They pay the registrars. So how is a court going to generate revenue for government? There are institutions that create sanity and the environment for things to work. And those institutions must be respected as such institutions. If you convert them to revenue generating agencies, they are destroying the way the natural order of things work. Unfortunately, that is what we see in the Southeast. These things may be happening in other places, but it appears to be worse in the Southeast. And for me, I will also ask myself one other question that is important. I have to do the rest in the next few minutes because that's what I've been told. So the next question that is important is, what is driving abuse in Ali? What are the causes? What are the things that are driving abuse? The causes are very clear and straightforward. First of all, people lack knowledge. Some of the things I say here sound earlier, that even an armed robbery suspect is supposed to be assumed to be guilty until proven innocent, rather until proven guilty. You don't, even when you saw the person commit the crime, that doesn't justify the assumption of guilt. And I'm not joking. I don't have time to explain it, but I have a classical explanation that when in the villages, in Anambra State and other people ask me questions like, Nane Nonya and Yosuoshi. Say yes. It may not be Oshi. Sorry, but I'll use this. Sorry. I'll just see how God will help me. But how to tell this story? I don't know how God inspired that story, but I asked this question, or one day I was put on the spot, as in, how do you explain this? I saw somebody do something. I said, okay, let us imagine that you have a neighbor. You know your neighbor very well. You know all the people who live in that house. And one day they all went to work. And then you saw somebody breaking the door from behind. The person was actually determined to break the door. Then when that person broke the door and went inside, he came out with TV and kept the TV. He went inside again, came out to fridge and kept the fridge. Let's be honest, what will run through your mind? Onyoshi, if you are used to leadership, what do? You bounce on him, put a tire on there. You know, before he explains, somebody will hit him with a rod from behind. He will pass out. But what if you give him time to explain and you are like, what are you doing? And he says the house is burning. Can't you smell the smoke? See the smoke. I'm trying to help bring out the property. What will you do at that time? You verify, isn't it? After that, what do? You join him in bringing out property. Am I correct? So what changed? You interrogated the situation. On the surface, he looked like he was a thief. But when you looked deeper, you found out that he was not a thief. So there are scenarios that look like it's an open and closed case. When you interrogate it, that's why you have court. That's why you have prosecutor. That's why you have defense counsel. That's why the law says you must have a lawyer if you're going to try in a criminal case. So that the whole story will come to the surface. And it has to be proven beyond reasonable doubt. So we lack knowledge. And then we have a culture of abuse that has lasted for some time. Driven by impunity. The feeling that nothing will happen. That I'll do it and nothing will happen. Police will tell you to your face, I'll waste you and nothing will happen. Landlord will tell you, Nanga Konda will have to pay you. Nobody here. These are things people will tell you. That statement is driven by impunity. The feeling that nothing will happen to me if I do something wrong. That's one of the biggest problems in Nigeria. Beside the so-called corruption. In fact, impunity drives corruption because some Nigerians are corrupt. Knowing fully well there will be consequences for the corruption. So impunity is very dangerous. And then we lack courage. When we are abused, even when we know institutions that can help us, people have come to our office and say, let us fight. They'll say, happier. Police. Say happier. If you know how many times I've and I tell them things like, I should leave it because you feel insecure. What of me that's going to fight the battle? They know my office. They probably know where. So don't you think they should be more angry with me? Why are you a coward? Say, okay, you won't understand. Now, Pastor Aneke will not seem happier for God. You see, the problem living in for God is that the person may also repent and God will forgive him. He forgives all our iniquities, including human rights abuses. So sometimes I'll tell you, see, take it to the law. Even God expects us to obey civil authority. When people do what is wrong, report them. It's not unforgiveness. You are sanitizing the society. You have a duty to do that. But our spirituality means that, that we can take all sorts. And then, unfortunately, not only that we lack courage, there is institutional support for human rights abuse. We have governments and governors that act outside the law openly. And when they do that, politicians and political players get this impression that they are also immune, so they can act with impunity. Then their friends and family members and associates borrow the same behavior. So before you know what is happening, the whole society is actually emulating bad example, and then what happens is that we are living in a jungle. But one of the worst challenges we have in our Igbo with this issue that money can fix all things, I want to address that just for 2 minutes. The Igbo man has this belief system that money can actually solve every problem. So he can actually kill someone, or so will ego make sure that if he spends enough money, the matter will be closed. That is why they are demolishing your houses all over Nigeria. It's not because they are targeting Igbos. An Igbo man is the only person that you tell, you cannot buy that land, it's on a floodplain. The Igbo man will say, don't worry. Don't tell me the truth. And he will start with you that gave him the advice. He will close your mouth with money. He will sell the land to you. do the documentation, knowing fully well you shouldn't build there. Then when a fellow that doesn't know Joseph comes and demolishes the building, because we are the people who believe that money can do everything. If they have 100 houses there, we own 70. So it looks like we are profiled. But the truth is that we are the people who invest in property, and we are the people who must invest, so we buy anywhere. Abuja, same story. Lagos, same story. You have a sense of impunity that if you have enough money, you will tell you see one day, he said, when we get to that beat, we'll cross it. Don't worry, when we get there, we'll solve it. Then when the bulldozers come, he will start looking for media houses to shout, Nana Kopo on me. So why are we not going to follow the rules of the game? If you build in the proper place and have your documentation, if they demolish your house, they will pay you compensation. They won't even demolish it. So that issue of impunity, driven by the thinking that money can fix all problems, is very dangerous. So what solutions do we prefer? Because we're interrogating the situation. We must have knowledge. We must make sure the knowledge of human rights covers the entire space. Every place people gather, they should be discussing human rights. It is sad that we are going to have elections in Anambra State tomorrow, and no governor, no candidate is raising human rights as a campaign issue, and the electorate are not talking about it also. It's a big shame. As long as people do not make it the most important conversation, we'll continue to suffer as a nation. Why? Because human rights affects and covers every aspect of your life, and I'm not joking. The right to good governance is there. Every other thing, in fact, the right of inclusion. Let me also explain this carefully. Now, when you have a proper government, when you have a proper leader, one of the things you use to assess quality of leadership is their capacity to include persons who are vulnerable. But we live in a country where the last people will consider are the pensioners. Governors award contracts of hundreds of billions of naira, pay the contractors, and pay they don't have money to pay pensioners who serve the state for 35 years. We don't talk about persons with disability. We spoke to a commissioner in Enugu State some time ago about putting ramps for bus stops, and he asked us how many there. Somebody who studied architecture with all his knowledge, he doesn't understand that the distance between you, all of you seated here, and crutches and wheelchair, God forbid, is 1 attribute. We are all potentially persons with disability, but for the grace of God. When people have this type of knowledge, they will be more charitable. The fact that you're running around today with 2 legs doesn't mean that you may not lose 2 of them tomorrow. Bah! You don't know what happened. And then you wake up at orthopedic, no 2 legs. You have joined the other side. Then you suddenly become more compassionate, suddenly become more. But you don't have to wait until it happens to you. These are all human rights issues. We don't think there's no inclusion. Once you are vulnerable, once you don't have resources, once you don't have power, you are not part of the conversation. Nobody remembers you, nobody talks about you. But the last time I checked, in those other nations that we want to run to, that we want to be like, if you have these challenges, you are treated like a hero. I know a Nigerian, I'm rounding up now, who left the United States. Listen carefully. I know a Nigerian. I was touched by that story. A couple, out of patriotic zeal, left the United States, either late 70s or 80s. The man renounced his citizenship. He said he didn't want to be tempted to go back to the US. So he gave up. He did it officially. He burnt his bridge. The wife returned her own. You know, women are more, in some cases, oh, this smart Hannah. I hold my own. No. They came to Nigeria. 3 of the families took this decision. They came back to Nigeria. I met one of them. He told me the story. And when the heat was on, 2 of them fled back to US. The one who couldn't travel was because he gave up his citizenship. So he had to start processing again. So he didn't travel back. So he stayed here. Listen to this story. Much later, for medical reasons, the wife went back to the US because all she had to do was to show her social security number. They processed her papers. She went to the US, and she got treatment for free. As they just saw the money, they were like, "Wow, madam, where have you been all along?" But the part that brought tears to my eyes was that she told me that they not only treated her free of charge, They told her benefits that she had from the job she did before she traveled that she didn't know she had. So they gave her a house free of charge in an estate developed for retired persons. An apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment, free. But the one that shocked her was that they paid her a small fortune. Benefits from the work the husband who renounced American citizenship did. That is how a nation functions. And in Nigeria, we say that Larry deserves a no, say Larry, why no catalytic, no, was in America. Can you pass out the darkness? The man rejected us. We should reject him. Then they will share that money. No, for them, the law is sacrosanct. The law says this is your entitlement because you did this work. The man didn't process it. The man left. The wife didn't know. They saw the number, everything popped up on the system. They gave the woman her own and gave her, oh, your husband is late. They gave her what belonged to her husband. That is why you're running there. But then, when we learn to respect our rights, when we begin to teach our children knowledge, teach ourselves knowledge, build courage, and then take action to stop institutionalization of human rights abuse. We have institutionalized human rights abuse. We have accepted it to be normal. Families gang up against that daughter-in-law, they say no and against Sobu. But when it's their own sister, they suddenly gang up to fight the in-law. I don't know if I'm making sense. So the same thing you want to do to another person's daughter, you don't want to happen to your daughter and to your sister. Are you okay? When we get to that point where we learn to take action and stop institutionalization of abuse, then we can be said to yourself, into us, biri, kambiri, ukata na abadi, kama dibiaru no kono no. You see, we don't take advice until it becomes too late. I'm challenging us because I see that a lot of us here are elites. We qualify, we're on the side that abuse people, some of us. And I'll remind you that if you want to understand how the Igbo man thinks, go and read things all about. Okonkwo was a typical Igbo man. Okonkwo was a rich man. He was an influential man. He was a strong man also. He had a reputation for courage. Obierika was a wise man. He didn't have all the things Okonkwo had, but he was a wise Igbo man. He told Okonkwo in one sentence, do not have a hand in the death of that boy. Okonkwo woke up one day because he wanted to maintain his reputation as Okonkwo. He disregarded the advice of Obierika, the wise one. He had a hand in that boy's death, and all of the work he did ended up into the evil forest. My prayer for you is that you will not end up like Okonkwo. Respect the rights of ordinary people. I've seen a magistrate remanded in prison in Enugu because of a house girl. I've seen a couple remanded in prison in Anambra State because of a house girl. I've seen people who assume that they are Okonkwo, that they are impenetrable, that they are the standard of measure of fame and strength, that they are untouchable, and they go and do something that they assume that this house girl doesn't have anybody. And your turn may be the day the law will wake up. Suddenly, what everybody had escaped with will pursue you and catch you. That is not my prayer for you. I pray that, unlike Okonkwo, you will understand that God gave you power and resources so that after a day like this, that you invest in spreading this news. Igbo land cannot fulfill its potential for economic dominance. Igbo land cannot fulfill its potential for political participation. Igbo land cannot maximize any potential until we firmly address the hydra-hairy monster of human rights abuse. Never end up like Okonkwo. Use your strength to be a blessing to the vulnerable. Thank you.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year, powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there, be happy. The fun, it's here.
Christmas is just around the corner, and with the current economic reality, many Nigerians are rethinking how to celebrate this festive season. We look into the streets to find out how many are preparing.
Christmas is a yearly occurrence. Whether you like it or not, it must happen. So for me, the best thing I will do is to be happy with my family. That's the way we're going to celebrate it. Whether we have money, whether we have anything, we're going to enjoy ourselves, just like that.
With the economy of Nigeria, we will do things according to our ability. We might not go out of the way to begin to do excessive things. Since the economy is biting hard now, we have to cut our coats according to our clothes. We need to do things with moderation, according to our income, according to what we have. Gone are the days when we do excessive celebration, do unnecessary things. These days we do things that are necessary. You can put food on the table for people, the children and the family. You're okay.
I'm not planning anything because there is no money. I can't just pretend I don't have money, but I know that God can do something tomorrow.
Christmas is being celebrated every year. If you don't do it the way you want this year, maybe next year. There's no die on it. You just plan it the way your economy, your level. Maybe last year eat 10 cups of rice. Today you have only 2. Eat that 2. Nobody knows about tomorrow. That's the one I'm planning to my sister. I'm not doing it do or die affair, no. I just take it cool. Whatever I have with my family, with friends, we share. If we don't have, we pray and ask God to continue to help us till next year.
I am not seeing people. Other people see Christmas. I see business. So I'm not in a celebratory mood. I'm in a hustle mode. I see your money, I'ma take it. But in general, so far so good. There's a lot to be thankful for. So all glory to God.
To celebrate this Christmas is actually going to be hard for now because the economy, hey, is very, 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 very high. There is no money to celebrate the Christmas. In fact, there is nothing like to celebrate this Christmas because there is nothing to use and celebrate it.
The economy has nothing on me. As you see me, I am fully outside this Christmas. See this Christmas. Anywhere is happening, you're going to see me there first. It doesn't concern me. If the economy let it go low, 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 low. The children of God must survive. So, with this economy, me, I'm going to flex life. I'm going to go out because I've worked so hard since the beginning of this year. So this Christmas, I'm going to enjoy myself. With or without the economy being bad, it don't concern me.
From budgeting carefully to focusing on family over spending, Nigerians are finding creative ways to keep the festive spirit alive despite the tough economic times. I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV. Good day, Nigerians. Christmas is just around the corner, and with the current economic reality, many Nigerians are rethinking how to celebrate this festive season. We look into the streets to find out how many are preparing.
Christmas is a yearly occurrence. Whether you like it or not, it must happen. So for me, the best thing I will do is to be happy with my family. That's the way we're going to celebrate it. Whether we have money, whether we have anything, we're going to enjoy ourselves, just like that.
With the economy of Nigeria, we will do things according to our ability. We might not go out of the way to begin to do excessive things. Since the economy is biting hard now, we have to cut our coats according to our clothes. We need to do things with moderation, according to our income, according to what we have. Gone are the days when we do excessive celebration, do unnecessary things. These days we do things that are necessary. You can put food on the table for people, the children and the family. You're okay.
I'm not planning anything because there is no money. I can't just pretend I don't have money, but I know that God can do something tomorrow.
Christmas is being celebrated every year. If you don't do it the way you want this year, maybe next year, there's no die on it. You just plan it the way your economy, your level. Maybe last year eat 10 cups of rice. Today you have only 2. Eat that 2. Nobody knows about tomorrow. That's the one I'm planning to my sister. I'm not doing it do or die affair. No. I just take it cool. Whatever I have with my family, with friends, we share. If we don't have, we pray and ask God to continue to help us the next year.
I am not seeing people. Other people see Christmas. I see business. So I'm not in a celebratory mood. I'm in a hustle mode. I see your money, I'ma take it. But in general, so far so good. There's a lot to be thankful for. So all glory to God.
To celebrate this Christmas is actually going to be hard for now because the economy, hey, is very, 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 very high. There is no money to celebrate the Christmas. In fact, there is nothing like to celebrate this Christmas because there is nothing to use and celebrate it.
The economy has nothing on me. As you see me, I am fully outside this Christmas. See this Christmas. Anywhere it's happening, you're going to see me there first. It doesn't concern me. If the economy let it go low, 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 low. The children of God must survive. So, with this economy, me, I'm going to flex life. I'm going to go out because I've worked so hard since the beginning of this year. So this Christmas, I'm going to enjoy myself. With or without the economy being bad, it don't concern me.
From budgeting carefully to focusing on family over spending, Nigerians are finding creative ways to keep the festive spirit alive despite the tough economic times. I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV. Good day, Nigerians. Nigeria is taking steps to tackle insecurity. President Bola Tinubu has declared a national security emergency and ordered more police and army recruits. We are on the street today to hear what Nigerians think.
I have not felt safe in Nigeria for the longest time. And the declaration of this government, anyway, I believe something good will come out of it. I'm just being optimistic because we are still in Nigeria, we don't know what will happen. But by the special grace of God, with divine intervention, I believe something good will come out of it.
I won't really say I feel safer because even with the security emergency, anything can still happen because we still get to come out, we still get to do our day-to-day activities. For me, security emergency should be when people don't, maybe there will be a lockdown. That's when I will now say yes, I feel safe.
They have been like trying to publish it, all these national security stores, but they are not like enforcing it or making it happen grassroots. They are just, trying to fulfill all righteousness or make the world feel like the government is working.
The security emergency, I would say yes, it's making me feel I have a sense of recognition of security because now I can now put my trust a little bit in the capacity of the government in implementing it because they've been able to identify their problem.
No, I don't trust the police and the army. I don't trust them at all because it's like business stuff now. Should I say is the highest bidder gets security more here in Nigeria.
When it comes to security, I wouldn't put my trust in police. But then the Nigerian army, yes, I would say strongly that they are working towards protecting the rights of the citizens.
The general sense, trusting the Nigerian security parastatal is quite shaky. But yes, I would say to some extent, I have a little trust in the capacity of the Nigerian military.
I prefer army. You know the Nigerian police. If you ask me, I would say army would do better.
First things is matter of education. Say normally many people are ignorant, and ignorance will check people forward to terrorism. That's number one. And the poverty. Like for example, now if I'm hungry, my thinking, if I don't have money, I don't have any access, I don't have job to go and get money, what I supposed to think is how I should get it, whether in a good way or bad way. So government supposed to bring more education, and government supposed to bring more opportunities. For me, I don't see any reasons for government to declare those kind of insecurities, because that's not time that Nigerians supposed to bring these issues. To me, Nigeria is supposed to look what's the sources of that insecurity to declare it. It's more than important to declare insecurity, because to bring that insecurity issues to Nigeria is to give more sufferness to societies, because we are already in suffer. So if these things happen, how going to happen? Because normally if such kind of things happen, the country will take another step for sufferness. But to me, that's not a good way to this thing. There's all those monies where Nigeria have taken as loan. So they take it for loan to wipe securities issues. So where is the money? That's the questions.
Okay, first of all, I feel strengthening the policies, because the policies that are released, it's not just about setting it out, but actually being in control of those policies, actually implementing them. If you can actually start implementing your policies, then basically your citizens or the people that are following you will tend to follow suit. It's more of a give and take response. So I believe if they can actually start implementing the policies that are set out by themselves, and also reaching down to the grassroots sectors, that's by reaching down to the citizens, not just by speaking up on their voices or some altars or something, but meeting everyone on their levels of baseline stand. I feel it will help us to get a better sense of security consciousness.
What the government should do is, when the citizens actually see that people are actually there, let me say, these bandits are being arrested properly and sanctioned and punished, that's when citizens will start trusting the government. But if these people actually get away with things that they do, then I don't think I will ever feel secure.
Well, they don't need to do much. What they've been doing is just holding seminars and events. What they need now is action. They need to start implementing weapons for these our security members. They need to recruit new security personnel.
Nigerians are sending clear message. Security is everyone's responsibility. People are hopeful that these steps will bring real peace and safety to the country. I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV.
Reckless driving has become a disturbing trend on Enugu roads, contributing to avoidable accidents, injuries and tragic loss of lives. From speeding to ignoring traffic rules, many road users are concerned about the rising dangers. Today, we are on the streets of Enugu to hear from residents about this pressing issue.
You know, before they used to blame it on the roads, but nowadays I don't think it's the roads that cause it. I just think it's ignorance. Some of them are like ignorance. Okay, you know you're supposed to put on your trafficator before you enter into this road, but then you decide to put it when you're already done entering the street. It doesn't make sense. And then, let's go to the Keke people. You know, obviously you want to overtake, and you know how small your Keke is, but no, you want to overtake a big trailer. Does it make sense? Well, there are just different causes of reckless driving here in Enugu, and most of them, if you check it, most of them actually are faults, like the driver's faults, and there are mistakes that should not be made.
Our people are impatient. We are too rushed in everything, especially this Ember mode. Somebody will be making efforts since January to the September, October, November. Once you reach November, you started what you didn't achieve since January. You try to achieve it under 1 month, which is not possible. If God wants to bless you, He will bless you. But everybody should cool down. If you didn't eat something today, tomorrow we eat it. You must not get everything under pressure. So our people should be take it easy in life, especially commercial drivers. Because as you are driving, they will try to maneuver you. In the process, they will either you hit your car or you hit them.
I don't think there's any proper regulation of driving in the country that takes place. Though we have agencies like road safety, but we don't often take time to know whether the person passes through road test, driving tests. Those days we used to have a driving test where somebody would go and learn how to drive and would be tested before issuance of a driving license. So it should be reintroduced. People should really be known and tested to know how to handle the steering. Two, people should know the regulations of the road. Regulations. Don't overtake at a bend, don't overtake on a bridge and the rest of them. These basic things should be taught to people. I have a friend that traveled abroad and they said that for you to have driving license it takes 3 years of intensive learning. 3 years. Finland precisely. But you see here in Nigeria, once somebody can ignite a vehicle and set the tires rolling, the person drives, whether he has license or not. So basically that one. Then before we talk about the issue of drinking or not drinking and sleeping on duty, sleeping on steering or not sleeping on steering, people should learn how to really walk and have a time to rest. Not somebody driving from Enugu to Lagos, reaching Lagos 6 p.m. and he enters steering again to start coming to Enugu by 9 o'clock in the night, just about 3 hours. So there are many factors, please.
Drivers taking hard drug, then depression. Like say some drivers don't have license and yet some of them will carry motor and come out. Some don't even know how to drive, but yet because they have the access to car, they will take it. Then traffic light is another thing. Many are not obeying the rule of traffic lights, while some roads don't have traffic lights. Those that are enforcing these traffic rules, are they bending rules to some or not? You will see that you will get to some traffic lights, some will be catched, while some be left. Why? Especially when our political leaders are passing. They have to be the one to lead. If they should arrest others for disobeying traffic lights, our political leaders should do so too, to show the example. So, because of all these things, I feel that this is the main cause: not obeying the traffic lights, hard drug, not having license, or not learning how to drive and yet carry out the car and come out and start driving.
If we can control the way people drive this season, because any scratch now causes a fire outbreak. Like today, I went to Night Mile and I saw an accident that a tanker had to somersault, and it was with a fuel product inside. So automatically, that if there's any issue or any wound on it, it will cause a fire, and the whole place will be catch with fire. So that is some of the things we can control, is to control our driving speed, like traffic measure, make sure that we take note of traffic measures on our roads.
It's just better you drive like with caution. Drive knowing that, oh, this life we have is, we don't have double life. We have one life, and then you know that if you lose that life, that's it. That's the end. So you just have to drive with caution.
So the solution is just law enforcement should not bend rules. You don't have to just arrest masses and then leave the wrecks because they are in political field. No. Then driving license should be something everybody, as far as you have access to car, you have to have your driving license.
My advice is that everybody should take it easy in this Ember month.
As voices continue to call for safer roads, one message stands out: road safety is everyone's responsibility. Authorities, drivers and pedestrians must all play their part to reduce the needless loss of lives. From Enugu, I am Sharon Uche, Aneke TV.
The federal government has launched a major drive to recruit thousands of new police officers and security personnel across Nigeria. We are here on the street to ask Nigerians if they would consider applying.
It's personally, I won't advise somebody to apply or not to apply. The truth is this: if government involved in this recruitment can be sincere to themselves, we can go in. But sometimes people will tell you that let's go to hunt. At the end of the day, they call you, see your leg is not of this thing. So that's the problem. If they are sincere to themselves, people will come and help. But at the end of the day, you see when they recruit you, they got the back and fire. So that's the way I see it. Well, I'm old enough to involve myself in such a thing now. But the young ones I want to involve themselves. Let them do that. But let the government be sincere to themselves. Give them backup. No backup. Not when you give somebody salt to go and say you draw rent to beat that person. It's not good.
Police. Again. For what? I like my life. Me where they could cost police people now, maybe they can't they cost me too. No. No is the answer, please. I don't find it honorable enough to serve this country in that capacity. Policemen, they are not as valued as they are in other countries. So why lay down your life for a country that does not care about you as a citizen first? Obuluze police. It doesn't make sense to me. There are places where, there are countries where if you open up mass recruitment, they will flock to join. But ask some other person, 1 out of 100 people will not even join. And even if they do join, they are joining because of lack of jobs, just something to be doing for the meantime before they get something better. Because police in Nigeria is not a noble profession.
Some people may say, I love to be a soldier. But for me, even if a soldier to marry a soldier, I don't like it. Police and all of them is what? The same thing. And they're not uniform people. That is, I don't like anything uniform. I don't know why.
Yes, I will. To protect my country and also to serve as a youth.
With the new mass recruitment, I would consider applying, but if the condition for applying is that I'll be sent to fight the war, I don't think I would. Not in the sense that I wouldn't, with the right training, I wouldn't be able to do the job, but I'm an only child. So I consider the fate of others, my mother especially, before any decision I make. If in the future, when peace has been achieved, if there comes an opportunity that comes up for me to be in any law enforcement agency, then fine and good, we'll do it. But for now, the instability would not help me, would not allow me to do that.
As Nigerians steps up efforts to tackle insecurity, the public's interest in joining the police and security forces seems mixed. I am Chinaza Ifeanyi, reporting for Aneke TV.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.
Ogene is a metal bell historically made by the Igbo people and considered as one of the most important metal instruments in Igbo traditional music. When struck with a wooden stick, it produces a sharp resonant tone. It is a symbol of Igbo identity and heritage, passed down through generations. Ogene acts as a rhythmic instrument, a melodic device, a means of communication, and also used in divination and spiritual rituals. It provides the rhythmic backbone, often setting the tempo and pace for other instruments and dancers. Ogene comes in different shapes and sizes. The single bell ogene, the double-belled ogene, ogene mkpenabo, with each producing different sounds. The triple-shaped ogene, ogene mkpe ato, each also producing different sounds. In an ogene cultural dance group, the vocal style is often distinguished by its main vocalist, with multiple singers singing in harmony with each.
Hooray! It's Christmas. The King is born. Hey children, it's time to laugh, to dance and have some fun. Put on your dancing shoes and bring your friends along. Come on, it's the Aneke TV Children's Christmas Party 2025. Let's go! We got dancing, spelling bees, sack race, jumping 1, 2, 3, lots of games and surprises too. All we are waiting for is you. And venue is Aneke TV, number 30, Edinburgh Street, Ogwini Layout, Enugu. Come take your seat. Time is 12 o'clock. Don't be late. We can't wait to celebrate. Sponsored by Indomie. Yummy treats. Colgate, our smile so sweet. Kellogg's, bring the crunchy cheers. Malta Guinness, energy all year. Powered by Nigerian Breweries. And this is the best party guaranteed. Come one, come all. It's Christmas cheers. Be there. Be happy. The fun, it's here.